Hi, Christina Hudson. Gonna call the meeting to order. Let's do roll call. Joelle Gibson,
Here.
Christina Hudson, here. Rob McDonald, Nicole Paz, Paula Shively,
Here.
Adrian Webb.
Here.
And our new commissioner, and I'm hoping I'm saying her name right, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Vasudha Sharma. All right. All right, now we open it up to public comment. Is that correct? Am I following rules of the road here? Is there anybody here for public comment? Anybody online?
Only in-person attendees. Public comment is only for in-person.
Yeah.
School.
Is she able to say anything in the meeting? Oh, you have to be in person. Okay, Renee, sorry if you're not here in person. If you have something to say, please reach out. We want to hear from you. All right, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the agenda. That was in your packets.
I move to approve the agenda that was in our packets.
Approved.
You second it?
Second, yes.
Okay, all those in favor to approve the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. All right, next we're going to go ahead and approve the minutes. We have minutes dated actually the February 21st. There wasn't a meeting, so there is no minutes, but just an acknowledgement that the meeting was canceled. We have the minutes of June 18th, July 17th, September 18th of 2024. I hope that all the commissioners had a chance to review the minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I move to approve the minutes.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. We approve the minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. All right, liaison reports. That's you.
Thank you, Chair Christina and commissioners. A couple things. First of all, the council in probably one of the earliest decisions passed a budget for the biennium of 2025-26. And one of the items that of particular note, and that is our fire station is professionally personed by 3 individuals all the time, 4 individuals. And through this budget process, and I bring this to you because you're part of that process, that as we look at numbers and we take our perspective from the business standpoint, is first of all, we had over 1,600 hours of mandated overtime for professional firefighters. Secondly, when we budget, in the past, I brought this up, with over 100 employees, we budget for 100% of the positions being filled. And so there was a shift thanks to Director Boutte in putting the budget together. So now we budget at 95% because you know that there's always going to be vacancies. And by doing those, addressing those 2 items, in this budget, we have added a firefighter, 3 firefighters, 1 to each shift. And why it's important for public safety, and it comes back to the work of the commission as well as the other volunteer positions, is that when we look at those things, we can make an impact on the service level. And if you ever drive by the fire department, you see that there's always 4 units, 2 aid cars, 2 engines in the firehouse, but we can only roll 1 most of the time. But by adding that 1 additional firefighter EMT, we'll be able to respond to 2 incidents. And why I think that's really important is we bring our own experience to our work here at the city, you included. And every day, it seems, I see the ambulance roll by my office in North Bend responding to a mutual aid. And that means we're not here in the city. We're doing and we respond to those because they respond to our incidents where we don't have enough equipment. So the point is this: we are in the process of putting together our legislative agenda or our priorities for 2025. Your input is incredibly important as well as we look at different ways of filling the financial gap, which comes through taxes and fees and all those things. So your input, and today, Kelly Coughlin's going to give you a presentation as well, is how can we make the city sustainable? How can we make tourism a component of the revenue that we need for the services we demand? And with that in mind, I encourage you, and we've continued to work on SR 18, which started right here in the Economic Development Commission 10 years ago. And your input is incredibly important as we talk about affordable housing, started here at the Economic Development Commission. These are things that we rely on this commission to give us input, insight, to bring your business perspective to the table so that we can have a well-rounded vision for the future. So with that, I'll close my remarks. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there any old business? Oh, yes, sorry.
Perhaps Councilperson Watton would like to talk a little bit about model train.
About what? Sorry. Model train, okay.
Yes. We have agreed to move forward on a development agreement on the model train, and it'll be on the King Street lot. I think the biggest concern I had is parking. We don't want to create more congestion. So I posed the question about parking, and City Administrator Chambliss reassured us that there is ample parking downtown. The city has done surveys in the past with over 1,000 parking spaces available or could be developed. There is easily 500 parking spaces in existence today. The number of visitors expected at the Model Train Museum for their break-even level is somewhere around 70,000 to 130,000 visitors a year. Broken down, it works out to be about 35 to 50 visitors an hour. So, and the other thing too is today is this flexible pricing. You can modulate who comes and when they come by setting the prices, just like they do with the airlines. So assuming that that's the case, we're not going to have 10,000 people show up all at once. So I want to make that perfectly clear. But really, it's a realistic thing, but it comes back to the other thing is we have existing parking. If you drive by our public parking lot on Railroad, most people don't even realize it exists. And there's well over 100 parking spaces either there or nearby. So I think it's very exciting. And so thank you very much. But here's the other thing is they have 3 years to raise the money. So if they aren't able to raise the money they need to build the facility, the property will revert back to the city. But hopefully, and I think with the enthusiasm that the developer, Peter Hamling, brings to this project, that is going to be a huge boon for the downtown and a complement to our existing railroad. Thank you.
Do you know how much money they're trying to raise just out of?
Somewhere between, I think it's 30 million for the development, 30 to 35 million. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to new business. There's another old business. All right, moving on to new business. All right, Miss Kelly, Snoqualmie Valley Rural Tourism Support Program.
Emily, did you find the? Yes. Okay. And I didn't know we were this far away from that screen, so I'm have my notes too. I can't see.
All good.
Okay, there we go. Okay. So most of you know, I am the CEO of the Snow Valley Regional Chamber. And we have spent the past 2 years trying to figure out a way to have a mechanism to be able to continue our tourism efforts. So out of that effort, this is what we have come to conclusion on. And so I want to present that to you all right now. So if you go to the next slide. So we already have, we know that is very strong. The tourism is strong in Snoqualmie Valley. The attractions like the Snoqualmie Falls, our outdoor activities, which I think we saw this summer. If some of you do not know that, we our mountain biking has become a huge, huge effort here. Our out and indoor activities. I see Paula here too. The hockey has become a really big, and the figure skating. So that is another thing that I should have put on there. So sorry about that.
That's right.
Yeah, so that is a really big boost that has happened. We are looking at a tourism improvement district, which is TID. It allows investments in advertising, events, and infrastructure. What does it mean? Increased tourism is increased revenue for hotels, restaurants, shops, attractions, and our cities. It's a big deal. Next slide. It creates jobs. As you know, increased visitors equals jobs. New job opportunities benefit local residents and their families. A strong tourism sector provides steady employment. Hospitality is the #1 sector for our area. So this would be a really big thing to also ensure that we have the jobs. Next slide. Economic development, that's why we're here. Tourists generate revenue through lodging, dining, and entertainment. There's increased tax revenue can fund public improvements benefiting everyone. There is stronger local business contribute to the overall economic health of the community. If our businesses are doing well, everything else is doing well. All of our events, they will get sponsorships. As we see this year, we didn't have very many sponsorships to help put those events on. So this is part of this as well. It's not just people making money, but it's also the community. Next page. Funds from the TID improve signage trails, and public amenities. The enhanced infrastructure encourage longer stays and repeat visits. We know that if we can keep a visitor here for a day, if they stay the night, they're going to put at least $250 more into our account. That's at least, that's the lowest amount of it. So tourism is a very, very important aspect of this. Strong infrastructure benefits both residents and tourists. Next page. The TID promotes local culture, history, and outdoor activities. We also, it's building a unique identity for Snoqualmie Valley. It strengthens our community pride. We know that through our Snoqualmie Valley, we call it, right now we're looking at just our school districts, where this people are our schools. So that is Snoqualmie Pass, North Bend, Snoqualmie, Preston, Falls City, and parts of Carnation, and parts of Redmond actually also is part of this. And you can read the marketing campaigns attract a tourist seeking authentic experiences. And I'll get back to that in just a second. Next slide. Again, eventually the TID will include the entire Snoqualmie Valley. Currently, right now, we'll stop at Carnation. Duval will also be added. We have had several suggestions that Monroe is added to this, and I don't see that. So that is something that will be under discussion as well. Monroe is in another separate county. And so when I talk about the valley, I don't include Monroe. But I know the Snoqualmie Valley Governmental Association also includes Monroe now, but that is not what we anticipate. So I just want to put that out there. Pulling our resources across the towns allows for a larger marketing campaign. Currently, all of our cities are doing a little bit here and a little bit there. And when a visitor goes to the website and they put Snoqualmie in, they don't know that there's North Bend. They don't know that there's Falls City. And so that's kind of similar to the same way if they put North Bend in, they don't know that there's Snoqualmie. So having a one place to be able to market the entire valley as a whole makes sense. It makes that people will spend other times in other areas as well. So I want to make sure you guys understand that as well. The expansion creates even more opportunities for economic growth. Next page. So a TID is an investment in the future of North Bend, Snoqualmie, and beyond. We're currently just looking at North Bend and Snoqualmie. We would like to eventually spread it out if that's possible. But in order to create what we're trying to create, you have to have two communities to be part of it. So it helps local businesses thrive, create jobs, support infrastructure, which we just already talked about. We can actually create, if we come together, make the Snoqualmie Valley a top tourist destination. Next page. There are different types of business improvement districts with also tourism business improvement districts. A BID improves general business areas through fees for maintenance, events, and marketing. A TBID, which is Tourism Business Improvement District, focuses on tourism-related businesses to attract visitors. A BIA, another term for BID, used in some regions. A TPA, tourism, oh my gosh, I'm blank on that.
Tourism promotion area.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, I can't.
It's all good.
Promotes tourism often funded by hotels to boost overnight stays. So there's several different ways about this. So next one. The cost of doing nothing. So some of you may and may not know, we have a shrinking LTAC lodging tax revenue leaves us unfunded for critical tourism efforts. As of this next year, it's not a good opportunity. I want you to understand that only 1% of our 13.7 million visitors they stay. They don't go to a second location. Only 1%. So if you see all these people, 13.7 million visitors come out to our area and that they do not go to a second location, we are missing out on so much. They are using our roads. They're using all of our different things that, water or different things where we're not able to work with any of that because they're not going to another location. They're not spending much time here. So anyway, this is what this is happening. We must position well, hang on, let me tell you this other part. We missed opportunities with the 2016 FIFA World Cup, leaving our region off the global map if we don't do anything, which is a really bad thing. We know the next page. We know the next slide. Yeah. So depending on who you talk to, the World Cup will draw millions of visitors. It's anywhere from 750,000 to 3 million, depending on who you talk to on that. So without preparation, Snoqualmie Valley risks missing the spillover tourism for that, a big one. We must position our region to attract tourists to seek nature, that are seeking nature, culture, and sustainable travel. So what has happened so far? Next page. We've already secured 2 key grants. That is Washington Tourism Rural Tourism Support Grant. That is a $250,000 grant that we don't see the money on it, but the Washington Tourism pays for a consultant to come in and help us create a destination marketing organization. That's already started. We're already working on that. Port of Seattle saw that this place is a huge opportunity, just waiting. They also gave us $99,998,000, $49.99 each year to be able to do this. And so that is paying for somebody for us to be able to figure out a lot of this, the details in trying to create this strategy. There are other grants that we are trying to actively work on as well, but we're going to need help from the cities to get this to happen. We want to attract responsible tourists that respect our tribal heritage and they leave no trace. It's one of our biggest things. We are not going to be a visit. There's nothing wrong with visit Issaquah, visit Bellevue, visit Seattle. But for our area is different because we have such places that are very historical, that are sacred. And so we want to make sure that we respect that and we make a really big effort to follow the responsible tourism. So this is part of this effort that we're working on. If we just rely on grants, this will not be sustainable. It will be every year trying really hard to come up with funding mechanisms. It's not going to work. So in order to make it happen, we're looking to do a TID. It ensures long-term funding up to 10 years, but beyond the grant supporting sustainable tourism development. The next page. You may and may not know this, but 2024 has been a very, very difficult time for our local businesses. Many of them are down 40% in sales. That has made a huge impact on not just us, but the community. We're not able to get, like I said before, sponsorships. It's been a really hard thing. A lot of our local nonprofits have not been able to get items, their auctions. It's just been not a good thing. Our SR 18 construction is going to continue for years. If we do not do anything, we will have the first phase paid for, which may take a while. They're saying 2036, 2037 when that happens. If that's not including the second phase, that second phase would probably go even further on that. We have a lot of construction that is happening here. We also have culverts that are going to be happening on 90 that are going to be shutting 90 down on a lot of things. So it's going to be impacting us greatly. And so I think our businesses were also impacted with that, with the fire, plus with the SR 18. We've got to help our businesses be able to survive. The other thing that you may and may not know is our businesses up on the ridge are shrinking fast. They are not doing a lot of overseas sales with they've done before in the past. I don't know if you guys may not know this, but you do. I stamp certificate of origins for all of our exports that go out of the country. We went 6 months without stamping one certificate of origin. That is not good. So, and typically what happens is I do anywhere from 1 to 3 a week. So I just did some stamping for one of the businesses, which was a great thing. It was about a $300,000 project, which was great, but there's no more coming up on that. So what that entails is that up on the ridge is got some major issues as well. So I want you guys to be aware of that. And for your business, there's probably not a lot of lunch crowds that they have been. And that is because those businesses are shrinking. A lot of them are staying home because of the traffic on 18 as well. So there's a lot of things that to worry about that. So, okay, next page. So we got to act now. We got to figure this out. So what I am asking you guys to do is to support a feasibility study. We're looking at doing a feasibility study on which of these is the best way for us to go. There are lots of options on our side to be able to create this fund. I'm not in favor of putting any more money on our business owners or our to put taxes on that. This is just an option, so don't think that this is the only option, but I just want to share with you one of the options that is out there. And that is putting a tax on soda tax. So fountain drinks or sodas. And this money that if we do this, goes into a commission. The cities are the ones that choose who are those commissioners. It is not anything that we do. So this is going to be based on the cities. It is not, there's going to be public hearings. There's all kinds of things to be able to do this. And this may not be the one that our consultant tells us to go to, but there is a possibility that if we do this this way and have it on the soda tax, the BIA route on that, then that money can also be used for maintenance for tourism. It can be used towards like roundabouts. It can be used signage. It can be used on all kinds of things, not just marketing. So this is a mechanism for not just putting money out there for marketing. It is think of it more as a whole base of tourism and the impact that it makes on the cities. So just for information, the McDonald's in North Bend and the Taco Time in North Bend are the #1 sales in Washington State for each one of those. So if you can imagine the tourists that go through there, it's pretty amazing. And again, there's 13.7 million visitors that come here. We lost our LTAC funds. There's no funds to be able to market. We have to get together and create a brand for this area. It is not working the way it's set up with each community making their own brand. It doesn't work that way. So that's why we're stepping in on doing this. And so any questions, I will if I don't know them, I can get them back to you. Yes.
I have questions because I'm a little, because you talked about a lot of different things, because I know originally it was about the RTS program. So first, thank you for all the work that you're doing on this. I know it's not easy. I think what you were saying about the small businesses and the struggle that they're having is something that you validated, that we've heard during our roundtables that we've had with small businesses, which I think has brought up some pretty key issues. Okay, you're talking about the districts, all the different types. You're talking about the tourism improvement district
Yeah, there's
and all the different kinds. Those take a couple of years to put together usually, because there's a lot of work and
Yeah, so
you're
it's
aware,
already
yeah.
been passed through the legislation. And so John Lambeth, who is with Civitas, he says he can do it in 3 to 6 months.
Okay. I'll just tell you it takes a long time, at least if you're doing the TPA route.
That's if we do the
Yeah,
TPA.
yeah.
And so there's other options. So the BIA is the one that I think is the way we're going to go.
Yeah.
But it's not for me to choose. So it would be everybody having a conversation about which
Yeah,
way it goes.
Yeah, because all of them are different and not all of them can be used for infrastructure. So that is a key
BIA
piece that
can.
you need. You need to make sure that you're choosing that one. And I don't, you're talking about the feasibility study. So the feasibility study that you're asking funding for is to help fund a consultant to look at those 5 options.
Mhm.
Okay.
And it's $21,800. And so we would split it between both cities.
Is it just coming to the conclusion or is it actually doing the work because there's a lot of work to get any of those districts done, a lot of meetings, a lot of letters, certified memorandums of understanding. There's a lot of that stuff. Does it include that stuff or just the decision on the?
Decision on where it goes. And I will send, I can
Yeah.
pass this to you so you can see what it all talks about. So this
Yeah.
is the.
Oh, well, okay.
And then
thank
we
you.
will also email it out
Okay.
to you as well. But it is
Okay.
important.
I'm happy to help. Offline, happy to help.
And I know
think through that
Redmond
situation.
did, what did they do?
We did the TPA and it
Yeah.
took us 2 years.
Yeah.
Because you have to use another city
Yeah.
and that takes a really long time. Because you have to get on council agenda. Anyway, so I can talk to you later about that, but just I want to be realistic. It takes a couple of years or at least a year to probably do these.
Mhm.
So when you're talking about the World Cup, hopefully we're planning on viewing parties and that kind of stuff here in advance of that, because I don't think the funding will come in order to prepare for that.
Not yet, but it could, depending on which one we choose. So,
Okay.
yeah, we're kind of under the 8 ball on this and we got to get it done quickly. So that's why
Yeah.
we needed to bring this to you guys.
Yeah,
Information.
okay, so I just want to make sure I'm clear, because then we talked a little bit about the RTS, which is, that is the money that was funded by tourism and the Port of Seattle, or is the Port of Seattle, that's a different thing, okay.
So
So the-
RTS is funded by Washington Tourism and it's
Okay.
a rural tourism support
Okay.
grant.
And what is the outcomes of that? So like, so at the end of the day, when does it finish and what do you hope to have in hand and what it would be the next steps you think?
So
of
as
it?
a steering committee, that they pretty much do, we have, a consultant that, brings them all, the tribe is also being a part of it. There's a bunch of, all outdoor recs. There's 25 representatives that are being in the steering committee. Basically, we are trying to figure out what it means to them for tourism and what they want in the valley as tourism. So that work starts this end of this month.
Mhm.
It's not, it's a lot of talk
Yeah.
to get ready to create the destination marketing organization.
Okay, got it. So the end result would be, you have a plan of next steps going forward, which is like the amount of money you'll need to raise, the partners that are involved. And all that
Not
kind
an
of stuff.
amount of money need to raise, but we'll
Oh.
have a strategic process of like,
Figuring that out?
yeah.
Okay, so we're at the very beginning of the RTS. Okay, so when you're talking about the tourism improvement district and the options there, that's like a separate thing, but eventually they would be tied together. Okay. And then the soda tax thing, I'm just like, so that is just feeding into this. It's just another mechanism that you were just mentioning.
Yeah.
That is an idea that would charge a certain fee on sodas.
Mhm.
Okay.
And it's the only way that we could think of that would, as many visitors that we have here, that would be able to impact it. There's other options. There's beer, there's wine, there's other options on that as well. So I just wanted to give you like to understand,
Yeah.
like what there's a bunch of possibilities. It's just us trying to figure out without putting stress on our businesses.
Yeah, and I know costs are rising and all the cost of food is rising too. So I don't know, yeah, so it's interesting. And so hopefully, and I know you're connected with the business
Mm.
community to understand if that's something they're willing to charge more for that
So,
reason.
If it's soda, they are willing to charge more for food costs or anything like that. They're not.
All right, thank you for letting me ask you all my questions.
Anybody else have questions? Yes. Oh, you were in the meeting.
It's just clarification.
Okay, thank you.
I just wanted to clarify LTAC funding has not gone away. It's just been greatly reduced. So we won't have any funding
Next
for
year.
2025,
Mhm.
but we will have funding in 2026. But just for picture perfect or not picture perfect, a visual or a number, we had a budget the last 2 years of $150,000 and we're anticipating $30,000. So it's significant, but I just want to say it's not going away. It's just we won't be funding it for 2025.
And can you tell the commission why it's been reduced?
Absolutely. The Salish Lodge is part of the Snoqualmie tribe, and so they're federally recognized, so they don't have to pay into it. And so we weren't collecting that money this year. So in hindsight, we probably shouldn't have funded the groups this year, but we have contracts with them. We're going to fund them, and so it's a thing where cities kind of like paying themselves back internally. So we're going to fund everything this year, take a year to pay ourselves back, see when the dust settles, see what we get from the Snoqualmie Inn, and then a smattering of Airbnbs, and then we'll have a better idea of where we're at for 2026.
Do you get lodging tax dollars from Airbnbs?
A smattering, just, I mean, a smattering, we do.
Well, most of the Airbnb, well, some here, but most of the Airbnbs are outside of the city.
Okay.
Correct. And the city doesn't have a policy that we can collect. These are Airbnbs that I think
Okay.
are just, I don't want to say nice, but they're playing by the rules. What was
Okay.
that? Honest. Exactly. They're honest and they want to contribute to their local community. But we don't have a policy to require Airbnbs within our city limits to contribute to that.
which
Okay.
could-
And the
Some
only- the
cities,
only way-
cities do that are based like mega tourism and,
Yeah.
VBRs and Airbnbs, but we're not that.
So the only way to increase lodging tax dollars is to build another hotel. So that's a really hard sell unless you have enough tourism to validate someone investing in your community. by
Right, and
building a hotel with
we
many
don't
rooms.
really have the land for that. So we're going back to a one hotel city. It's just there's a difference in the room rates for the Salish versus Snoqualmie Inn. And we're very grateful for what they have contributed, but it's
Different.
definitely reduced. And I'll say that this is also where the Chamber and the Railway Museum have received significant funding through the years from LTAC. So they will be having to figure out how do we get that funding now that, I mean, in all transparency, both organizations were getting about $50,000 a year.
Mhm.
And that's a significant hit for both of those organizations.
Yeah. Thus the need for other ways of funding tourism.
Hence
So I was
this,
just gonna
this
ask
proposal.
At all, is
Mhm.
that there's no way to really grow the LTAC fund, so we need to look at other options. to do it.
Correct.
And we're not also, just so you know, the casino is on reservation land
Yeah.
as well, so we
Correct.
will not receive.
The
any-
hotel they're building doesn't pertain to us. All right.
All
That
right.
makes it really hard.
Yeah.
And then there is a hotel that was supposed to be built in North Bend, but that one has not broke ground yet.
Yeah.
So I don't know
Is
when.
that
that's
the one
gonna
at the
finish.
outlet mall?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it would be beneficial to actually go after another hotel. I know that they had talked about doing another hotel up on 90. The same owners that own Snoqualmie Inn could be, there's the Hilton is still asking. I've met with them twice. They're looking for a spot to put another Hilton. But I don't know if we have any place to put a Hilton. That is the other option. If we, I don't know, there's nothing, I don't think there's any place unless it's over in the mill site.
Well,
That
maybe
could
we
be
look at unincorporated, well, that doesn't help if it's an unincorporated King County. We've got to keep
No,
it
and
city.
King County over the past years has not allowed us to go after the LTAC funds for King County. And I'm going to try and change that. I know that the majority of the LTAC funds for King County was going towards the stadiums,
Mm.
paying off, but those have sunset. So I don't know if this, and maybe you know, because they're going towards,
I can certainly make a text as soon as I get out and find out.
okay, that will be awesome. That's why we love you. Okay, so any other questions? This is a pretty big deal that is, we need your support, and I will send you the documents that you need for Civitas. We can go with other companies. We've looked at 3 other business or consultants. Civitas is the one that.
So
yeah.
Civitas is who we hired. Sorry, I didn't know, for the TPA. They specialize in TPA. I don't know as much about the other districts.
Yeah, he does more. So John is the
Okay.
owner of it, and he's an attorney, and he's awesome. So
Okay, how much did they quote you?
it's 21,000. It's
Yeah,
in there. It's
that's about
looking
right.
at, I think it's 21,800.
Okay,
And if we do it a BIA route, the funds that we spend on the feasibility study actually can be given back to the cities after we create it. So that funds can go back.
Mhm.
So anyway, that helps.
Love it. Thank you very much. Thank you for always carrying the flag. All right, any other questions or comments? All right. So going next to the items of commissioner interest, we're moving on to the River Trail status update. Do we have anybody here to give us status? Oh, perfect.
That would be me.
Love it.
Can I share?
And if you can catch us up on like a brief overview of the project before the status update, that would be awesome for our new people if they're online. I don't know if she's online yet.
Okay. There it is. All right. Hello. My name is Jeff Hamlin. I'm the Parks and Public Works Director for the city. And Emily asked me to come in and give a presentation today on the River Trail. I think many of you are probably aware of this project. It's been on the boards here for, well, since I've been here, so since 2017. It was stalled out for a long time because of funding and other issues. But we have since picking it up again and started moving forward with the development of the trail. This was formerly called, of course, the River Walk Trail, and we have changed the name, we've kind of rebranded it. This was a request from the folks at the tribe. Apparently, the River Walk name didn't sit well with some folks. I think there was some negativity around it, the initial phases of the planning on it. So we've been doing a lot of coordination with the tribe on this and trying to kind of reimagine about how what it's going to become. And so we have a relatively new concept. This is part of a larger network of trails that we're planning to develop within the town center. And we can talk more about that, but this presentation is really focused on this first phase of the River Trail. So this is, you can see that, okay. This is a basic overview of where this first phase is going to be. if you, this is downtown on this side. Can you guys see my cursor? Yeah, okay.
Yes.
So this is downtown over here on this side. You can see Northern Street here and Fur. And our Town Center Phase 3 project, which is coming, it's also on the boards, and we're looking to get our funding for, will be along this side. This is the existing trail that runs along this side, crossing Kimball Creek. This is a pedestrian bridge here. This is the 202 bridge. Right about here is the spur. Are you guys, hopefully you guys are familiar with that spur. You can drive across it and not notice it. But the railroad yard, yeah, where is it? Like, yeah, so the switch yard, the old switch yard kind of sits in this area. And there's an old spur which crosses the river here. And that's where that trestle is on the other side. You guys may have seen that abandoned trestle. All right, so we're going to come off of that. When we develop Town Center Phase 3, this little area here where the spur comes across will become kind of a plaza, a place for viewing, a viewing platform for the switch yard. And, you know, those old relics, I think, you know, eventually the Railroad Museum has a plan to kind of clean that area up and make it more of a, you know, something worth viewing, I guess. It's something, not that it isn't now, but, you know, there's some discussion about is it, you know, rustic, you know, relics, or is it rustic junk? And I think, you know, he's got a plan for how he's going to develop that. Either way, we're going to come off of that with a crosswalk here, and the river trail portion of it, it begins. This is really the first phase of it. Now, we've already developed a couple small areas down in the town center where we will connect to eventually, which will become part of the overall river trail. And it will extend all the way through town and all the way leading all the way to Meadowbrook, and then, you know, points east to eventually connect with the old Snoqualmie River Trail. But that's a bigger discussion, and I'd have to give a much longer presentation. Either way, this will come down the spur. Keep losing my cursor. And there will be a viewing platform here. This is, I guess, we're calling it a hub, and it's really a platform. It's a wooden platform. I believe it's wood at this point. We were talking about wood with a bridge going either direction. On either side of this spur, which comes across. This was a fill wedge, which supported the track as it became a trestle. And so there's kind of a drop off on both sides. So we'll come across this with a bridge. On this side, it'll be an organic surface, probably wood shavings or wood chips, and to make this kind of little loop. And this work will come with some restoration. This forested area is in pretty good shape. We'll do some invasive species removal and some planting, but this will be very, very low impact. Really nice area. It kind of comes out here to the confluence with Kimball Creek, where Kimball Creek meets the river. And so this will be a nice little loop. On this side, this is all gravel. This will be an inorganic gravel material, which will extend out this direction. You guys may remember that old house, that old white house that used to be there. I don't know how you could forget that old white house. It's gone now. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute, but this is where the trail will terminate at a kind of a viewing area. There's a little kind of loop area where we'll do a viewing area, and it'll connect with the sidewalk at that point. So this is kind of the very first phase. This construction will begin in next summer. Yeah.
That's exciting.
And then let's talk about this little house. So the house, we finally got this thing done and out of here. There was some lead paint issues to work through and some permitting stuff. If you go there now, though, it's hard to tell there was ever even a house there, except that now it looks like this beautiful green lawn, which is, we have to do some improvements on the rest of this whole area because there's a lot of blackberry and invasive species. So part of this project will be to kind of do some riparian restoration in there and do native plantings and invasive species removal to try to get it back to a more native condition. So it'll look like a really, a nice area to walk through. So current status, so we're in permit review, and that will probably take place for the next couple of months. We plan to bid it. We're going to go to bid as soon as we can. I'm thinking in February it'd be a good time to bid if we can get our permits all squared away. And then for construction this summer or next summer. And then just the remaining hurdles are if there's any significant delays in the permit review process that could impact the project timing. We certainly hope that doesn't happen because, the longer we wait to bid it, the more expensive it gets. So we want to get it bid in, late winter, early spring. So that's basically where we're at. If you have any questions, happy to answer them.
No, it's exciting.
I always ask all the questions, of course. So construction starts summer if we can get all the, okay,
Yeah.
you were mentioning permitting delays. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? Because
I
that's
think
part
I'd
of,
turn that over to Emily because it's the city permitting and I don't know exactly what the cause is, why it's being delayed, but I think we were supposed to, the 30-day clock was supposed to run. I don't know, when was that? Mid-September. And so it's mid-October now, and I think we're still waiting, and I'm not sure what the delay is. I think it may be staffing, or I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But it's
it's a common theme throughout the region is
Mhm.
there's not enough planners to hire, but
yeah, I think that might be
Um,
it. But, we're staying focused on getting this thing done and out to bid. So I think Emily's been working on, or your team has been working on the permitting. So I'm not sure, unless if you want to give us an update.
It's currently being processed. I'm not aware of any delays that would prevent it from, moving forward.
so is permits pretty timely in general in the city of Snoqualmie or? is it-
Yeah, this one does require a substantial shoreline development permit, so it does go through a state decision-making
SEPA stuff.
process, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, excellent. Thank you for
Mhm.
answering my question. Any other questions? And then we'll move to the next one. All right, thank you very much. It's very exciting. I know this has been in the thought process for a long time. So
Yeah.
anything we can do to move people around and new guests to our small businesses when they get to end of that trail would be awesome. So thank you very much for your work on this.
Thank you.
All right, moving on next to the tourism website and troll update.
Good morning, Nicole Wiebe, Community Liaison. So Andrew, if you can put the photo up for me, and Emily, while he's doing that, if you can start to get on your screen ready to share the city website and the Visit Snoqualmie, I would appreciate that. So the last couple of months behind the scenes, there was conversation of the trolls, and I don't know if you're familiar with it. This is a troll in Portland. I spent the summer touring around the 6 different trolls in the Pacific Northwest region. This is the Portland troll. This was my personal favorite. He is looking in at that tiny house. So I'm just going to leave that up there for a visual and then just kind of give you, I'll look at your smiles,
I know.
Christine. I don't know, your smiles might turn to frowns, but
Oh, no.
I've been doing my due diligence to try to bring a troll here. So the trolls are an artist creation of, his name is Thomas Dambo, and he is Danish. And I've learned a lot in the last couple of months. So there is a woman by the name of Fidelma, and she is the president of the Scan Design Foundation. And I'm very proud that I'm a born and raised Washingtonian, and Scan Design is a furniture store that's been in the Puget Sound Seattle area forever. Little did I know that they have a foundation. So about 5 years ago, Fidelma met Thomas in Copenhagen. And so I really need to tip my hat to her because it is because of her and her initiative and her vision that we now have trolls in this area. So she said to Thomas, we need to bring, and it's obviously the Scandinavian connection. So they worked hard for about 4 years to bring the trolls to the Pacific Northwest. So there is Portland, and that site is, I would say it's in the suburb of Portland. It's at a Nordic museum, and so it's like a green space, and around that tiny house are other tiny houses, and there's a museum and a restaurant. The other trolls, my second favorite, you're going to get Nicole's point of view, is West Seattle. You walk around Lincoln Park, and then the troll is butt up against the woods, and he's looking out at the water. Vashon, Bainbridge Island, Ballard, and Issaquah. And there's been a couple of cities that turned it down and are now regretting that they turned it down. So it's an art installation. It's also an economic development driver, as we all know. I know Kelly went around and saw them all as well. So, so the trolls, there's a story that Thomas wanted to tell, and there's still stories to tell, which is key to Snoqualmie. There's a desire. The question was, Nicole, can you get a troll here? And at first I said, he's not going to build a troll in Snoqualmie when he built one in Issaquah, 10 minutes away like that. But then money talks, right? So Thomas, I spoke with his assistant, his project manager last week, had a Zoom call with her. She was in Copenhagen. It was kind of cool. There is interest. However, it's difficult. I'm trying to maintain the artist's vision and what he wants. I'm trying to maintain our city arborist and what he wants. I'm trying to maintain what city leadership wants for their economic development goals. And my goals are just out the window because there's no room for 4 people. You know, my arts commission, I don't get any goals, but it is difficult to find these 3. So each troll prices have gone up are between $300,000 and $350,000. And there is a contract, Scan Design has a contract with the artist, and nothing can be done within 100 miles of a troll for 3 years. And I think we're in year 1. They finished building them in 2023. Scan Design said, we're probably not going to get in the way of that if you want to do that, but that's just a verbal, right? So, where I'm at now is I'm trying to identify a location in Snoqualmie that satisfies all of those 3 people. And I drilled it down, and I think there's one thing that she said, I think I can bring this idea to him. And so I need to get some photos and some videos and send it off to him. So I don't want to waste anyone's time, the artist, my time, anybody. So I'm just here to update you to let you know there's conversation. It's kind of like a one ditch last effort, but then the problem will be the funding.
Yep.
And the city doesn't have the funding. And so I quite honestly,
So
I
this
don't
is
know
where-
what we would do.
Yeah, so if there's an opportunity, I mean, $300,000 to $350,000 for an iconic
Yeah.
tourism generating economic development that supports economic, we know economic development supports all the citizens, all the businesses, right? So there's other ways to get funding. It doesn't always have to come from the city. So then you start lining up all the partners that would
Yeah.
would do that. So
I
I'm
appreciate
happy
that
to
because I'm
brainstorm.
feeling like this, a bit of this pressure on my back, but
I mean, we have, just so you know, we have federal legislative members that are looking for legacy projects, and
Mhm.
this is budget dust in the federal government budget. We've
Right.
got state appropriations, but we know the state budget's going to be a little tight
Right.
this year because we don't know what's happening in the elections. But there's ways that you can strategize to get these kind of dollars. So
Yeah.
don't let that thwart you.
Thank you.
The hardest
I-
things will be the most rewarding in the end.
Totally. So I asked Fidelma, and I asked, it was Fidelma. I said, what is your performance measures? Like, what are you hearing from these cities of, the economic development that's landing there? Well, I know I left dollars when I took 2 ferry rides. I'm certain the ferry system saw an uptake. And I'm this kind of weird person that I am visual. Like, I will remember people, and we would go somewhere and I'd say to my husband, that person was on the ferry. I saw them, I saw that. So I see these droves of people that were all going on a Saturday or Sunday morning. So there's that. They're leaving those dollars, which the ferry system does need greatly. But this site in particular, the museum and the restaurant have seen since last fall a 30% increase in their museum memberships and in the restaurant sales. So that tells a story. Yes, Emily.
What museum is it and what restaurant?
It's it's some sort of a Nordic museum, and they have a little cafe. And I witnessed it. I saw it myself. There was people there. They were setting up for a wedding. So I think that there's this tie, that we have museum here. So his whole artistic goal is the Nordic Northwest. So I should have brought my notes with me, but Thomas's goal is kind of anti-industrialization. Because all of those, I should tell you, all of those trolls are built sustainably. He builds the head, the hands, the feet in Copenhagen, and they're shipped to wherever they go. The rest of it is built with a team of volunteers and things from the area, and people literally go out and forage and put things up and build that. So it's sustainable art. It's an art installation. they're designed, Jeff would love this. We would get to maintain it. They're designed for 10 years. He's got, I think, over 100 across the nation, and people travel to visit the trolls. 200? Yeah. But, so he's got one that's year 9 and it's still okay. And I said, do you have a handbook? Like, would you be able to tell my staff how they take care of this and oil it? And they do. And he says, if there was ever anything that, I know I'm putting the cart before the horse, but I'm just kind of telling you about my conversation because it was interesting. If something were to break, then he would come and fix it. So it is a heavy lift, but, I'm still going to pursue it. I won't tell you the location because I don't want to get anyone's, hopes just shattered. So I got one more shot, and I'm really trying hard, you guys, to make him see that this is where he needs to build his next troll. Oh, so are you all familiar with, who Pete Nelson is? So Pete Nelson is a treehouse guy. So Pete apparently went to Copenhagen, and Fidelma connected Pete with Thomas. So Thomas has had a dream, this is kind of cool, of a troll with a backpack. And the backpack is an Airbnb. So partner that with Pete, who makes tree houses, and you have a marriage, right? So they are building one not in this state, they're building it somewhere else, but there is a friendship and a kinship there. And Kelly has reached out to Pete. So if this location is something that Thomas would entertain, then that would be the next step. Like perhaps we bring him here, and maybe that's where I'm like, hey, Pete, you want to
You say
bring
there's
your
one in Issaquah?
There is.
Yeah.
So the Issaquah one is downtown by the community center along a trail. Thank you for that question because that triggered it. His goal is they need to be on a trail. They need to be wooden, like trees, kind of you stumble upon it. So yeah, you can go see the Issaquah one. I should have put that one up, but that's my favorite. So the Issaquah one is just down the pathway from the community center. Ballards is the only one, and it was a compromise. The artist did not want to do this. It's an urban trail. He is placed outside the Ballard Nordic Museum, but that is not one of his wishes or endeavors, because that's some direction that I received is we want this to be urban, but that's not a starter. And then the other ones are located in park settings.
So just along those paths though, then you have people doing geocaching stuff around. So then you have the people who are visiting the trolls and the people who go to the troll because they're
Yeah.
doing geocaching. So it's just a constant flow of new people, which
Yeah.
again is more foot traffic for our small businesses.
At each one that I visited, there was probably, and there were various times during the day, they were all on the weekends. There was 20 to 30 people at one time, and there's always a little line to take photos. When I was at the Issaquah one, I heard someone say, oh, last time I was here, there was a huge line for photos.
Yeah.
So that's another thing, like the city arborist, Phil Bennett, bless his heart, he's gone out with me twice now for full troll sites, and he'll come up with something and I'll say, no, it's not enough depth. It's not enough depth. I need room behind it. I need people to go. Would you cut that tree down, Phil, so they could build it? No, I won't, Nicole. All right, well, let's carry on.
Love it. They love it. Well,
So sorry, that was a long-winded troll update, but
it was good. And thank you. Thank you for all the efforts there, because if this can be pulled off, this would be a really great thing for.
it would be huge. Yeah. So Emily, can you pull up the city website?
Absolutely.
Thank you. So I received some grant funding from the Port of Seattle and worked with communications down in McCall, and we created a website within a website. So if you can go directly, if you type in Visit Snoqualmie, this will land you right here, or you can go into the main website, and then up at the top bar, you can click on Visit Snoqualmie. So we have created a website within a website, and there's a fee every year to maintain that. We also created the branding. I love that, Visit Snoqualmie. We wanted our own brand separate from the city logo. And so that's there. We launched it at the end of August. We got a little bit late start, but things like this take time. And that what's on there currently is a baseline. We still need to go in and put content. It's a lot to build a website when you're lean staffed anyhow. So more to come. I did get some feedback that someone said, there's nothing on here. I'm like, there's a little bit, we're trying. So it's there. And then at the same time, we're establishing a Visit Snoqualmie Instagram It's slow to build an Instagram following. And so the difference will be that the Visit Snoqualmie Instagram will always be events and pretty pictures and things tourism. The City of Snoqualmie Instagram will have all of those things as well. But what the City of Snoqualmie Instagram will have that the Visit will not like city council meeting or emergency plow snowing or water leaks. That stuff will stay on the City of Snoqualmie Instagram. And if you want the fun and kind of check out from reality, that's where you'll go for that.
Well, and if the city, I don't know your policies, but if the city Instagram and social can share what's happening on the visit.
We
that'll
do.
build- that'll build
There's
your
much
thing.
of
Okay,
that,
good.
much of that going on. Yeah.
Good.
So might I do one more update, Emily? Do you mind? Okay. I'm also the Arts Commission liaison, so that's part of my role in talking about the troll, but also economic development. But I just wanted to point out, because it's so sweet and it's lovely. We have new pole banners. I don't know if you've noticed. We did this Arts Commission. We did a call for artists. It's the first time that the community has done this. And the artist, I don't have any photos, but you can see them when you drive out through town. It's a local artist. She's a Sammamish resident, but she was very tickled that her artwork was chosen. So that will become part of the rotation. We usually do about 3 or 4 different rotations. The next pole banner installation creation will be something for FIFA for the World Cup. But I just want to do a shout out for that. It was kind of a nice, fresh look to be on the pole banner.
It was noticed. And is there going to be any ties
So-
to the pole banners to that website? Because
There is, if you go to the main website, there is Arts Commission and there is a page about that. So she,
okay, but on the Visit Snoqualmie, 'cause that's where
Um,
people are going to see. Those are part of your visitor
yeah,
experience.
I can,
I mean, you don't have to. I just
yeah, I will.
thought
I
for
will do
future,
that.
you can tie them together.
Yeah.
For your
Cool.
branding continuity.
Cool. Any questions?
Great job.
All right,
No,
thank
any
you.
questions for online? Okay, good. All right, I think that wraps up all our presentations. I know we do have in your packet, you have the 2024 work program that we discussed. I was talking with Emily earlier that we're probably in January. We'll kind of take all the feedback we got from the business roundtables, which I think was really some good stuff. And then we can incorporate it into our 2025 plan.
We still have one more roundtable, right?
We still have one more roundtable next month.
Next
Yeah.
month.
Yes, we do. All right, and I think that adjourns our meeting at 9:11.
Thank you.
Anything?
Thank you.
Thank you.